Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Same Cast Different Day podcast. This isn't our usual episode right now. Tina Marie is having some work done to her studio right now, so that's why we haven't been on the air for like 2 weeks. But just work with us, and we'll be back on the air. But in the meantime, I want to get on and talk about something that's been happening in the country lately, and it has to do with a lot of hate that's been going on with people in the country following the shooting of Charlie Kirk. And when I first heard him, like I was almost one of those people that was like I don't even know how to put it. I want to say gay that it happened, but I don't know. I guess I should first just say surprised that it happened. But then as time went on, I was like, that's what you get, and you fuck around and found out. That was like my mindset at first. But at the same time, like this man was still a father, a husband. And one of the crazy parts is that, his kids are going to grow up with this cloud hanging over their head. This almost like this cloud of, how can I put it? Like they won't be able to be friends with black women. They won't be able to be friends with, people of brown skin. They won't be able to be friends with people who are on the LGBTQ plus spectrum. They won't be able to have that because of this thing that their father created, this hate that he spewed going around the country doing. And for people to be like, oh, it's so sad, and we shouldn't be talking about him in this matter. But once again, this was the man who made it his mission to go across country to spread hate across this country, which I think is crazy that a lot of people are celebrating. Like I don't remember when the was it the senators in Minnesota when they got assassinated. I don't remember all this commotion after they passed away from, the Republican Party. I don't remember, any mention about flags being flown at half staff. I don't remember. I don't ever think was their body like was the senator body ever taken to DC to Lion State like they're trying to do for Charlie Kirk. I don't see these things happening with those people who were part of the United States government, but yet you see a man who basically is known for spreading hate getting this government treatment. Like I just don't understand. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, and just to give you our into ones who do know what I'm talking about, I'm going to give some examples. I'm going to play some videos, some clips of this man talking, and then you will know why people are having the thoughts that they are having.
I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up new age term that does a lot of damage.
You had a daughter and she was 10 and she got and she was
Well,
going to give
I-
birth
I
and
do
she
have
would
a
no
daughter.
wait oh and she was going to give birth and she was going to live. Would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
It's no, but it's a real life scenario that happens
Calm
to
down.
many
The
people.
answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964 as a huge mistake.
Correct. Sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment.
Note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
So as you can see, the hate that that man was spreading, going across the country, spreading his hate on his podcast. Some about the civil acts right that was passed. That was a mistake. Like that's something that should be happening. So he believed that black people still should be only able to ride in the back of the bus. He believed that black people or brown people, should only drink out of black people only water fountains. He believed that black people or brown people should only have to enter through the back of a building. He believed in white only establishments. It's just the hate that this man have. Like this, that this man says that there has to be a few gun deaths a year to justify the Second Amendment right. Like, what are we? And people are upset that people are not feeling no type of empathy for him. They're not feeling sad that this happened to him. I'm sorry. Like that's just you're not gonna get it. And then on top of that, right after his shooting, like people who are considered Republicans on the far right, these people were calling in threats to HBCUs that had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk being assassinated. It had absolutely nothing to do with him being assassinated, but yet and still you're going to call in threats to HBCU. So something happened to this white man and you automatically go target black people. Like during this whole entire presidency, I feel like black people has been standing to the side. We've been minding our own business, just letting things happen. We fuss from time to time about how the economy is right now and things that's going on. But with all these protests that's been happening, like a lot of stuff that's been happening, we've just been sitting by and watching because, like I said, we've been fighting for a very long time. We've been fighting since the start of this damn country. We've been fighting. And we're tired of fighting. We tired of having to go through all this. We tired of having to prove, to other people yeah, there's hate still involved during this country, that the racism is still real. We're tired of having to claw our way out of a rabbit hole every single time, every single day. It's a fight for us. No matter where we go, there's a fight when we're at work, when we go to the grocery store, when we go to a clothing store. Like when we shop outside of what people consider normal, you know, uh, areas or businesses for us, and we go out into these other suburban areas, like we're always being stereotyped every single time, and it never fails. And then, like I said, as soon as this happened, they decide to target HBCUs, which has nothing to do with it. And the crazy part about it is, I don't even know if a HBCU even exists on that side of the country near Utah. I have no clue. And so for him to get killed and they want to target the HBCUs is beyond what crazy to me. And then the fact about it is, it was a person who basically shared the same beliefs as Charlie Kirk that was arrested for his killing or assassination, whatever Trump want to call it these days, whatever he want to call it. It was somebody named Tyler Robinson who lives in Utah, and one of the thing that I did see online, where the Utah, I think it was a governor or something like that, where he was saying right after this happened, he was like he was praying that he was hoping that it wasn't one of his people. And when he said that, I'm like, he has the same. That's the same thing that black people say. Like we see a crime on TV or they're talking about, oh, breaking news, such and such happening, and then we just be like, oh, please don't let it be a black person. Like, and he said, I know that he was saying, I hope this isn't a white person, and it was, it was a white person. But like I said, we've been minding our own business, even when it came to the Mexicans being deported and immigration. Yeah, we talk about it here on the podcast. We still feel that it's wrong how they are being treated in this situation and being deported, and the Supreme Court giving them the okay to racially profile people and detain them and deport them and all these other kind of things. We've been saying that it's wrong. We just talk about it on this podcast all the time. Yes, we believe that it's wrong. But at the same time, we told you not to go vote for this person, and we told you what would happen if you would vote for this person. We gave you a play-by-play of what would happen if you were to vote for this person, and yet you still voted for that person, saying Mexicans for Trumps and this for Trump, and now look at you, you're struggling. You're struggling, and your families are being broken apart. Now, I'm not saying that's not for all the Mexicans who who voted for Trump, or I mean, who voted, because I know there were some who voted Democrat, but I'm just saying for the ones in general who voted for Trump. You voted for this. Everything that's happening in this country right now is what you voted for. And to speak of more stupidity, I came across this other video, and it's almost like I know you had to be appointed to his position. This was it Robert F. Kennedy, but at the same time, it's almost like you lied on your application. So let's take a look at this real quick.
We had lots of guns when we were kids. We had comparably the same number of guns.
I can't stand his
Nobody
voice.
was doing that. We had gun clubs at my school. Kids brought guns to school and were encouraged to do so. And nobody was walking into schools and shooting people. So, and this is not happening in other countries. Switzerland has a comparable number of guns as we do, and the last mass shooting they had was 23 years ago. We're having mass shootings every 23 hours. Oh, there are many, many things that happened in the 1990s that could explain these. One is the dependence on psychiatric drugs, which is, in our country, is unlike any other country in the world. It could be, there could be connections with video games, with social media. There are a number of things, and we are looking at that at NIH. So we are doing studies now. We're initiating studies to look at the correlation and the connection, potential connection between over-medicating our kids and this violence, and these other possible co-founders as well.
Kids brought guns to school when I was a kid. About 70 years ago, you were a kid, and y'all brought guns to school. And it's the same day that the Charlie Kirk assassination happened. There was a shooting in Colorado that happened that wasn't talked about in the media. I didn't even know that the shooting happened until like days later, after because the whole Charlie Kirk thing was like blowing up the news circuit and social media and all these other kind of things. So I didn't even know about the Colorado shooting. The person who did do the shooting did unalive themselves, self-inflicted, and I believe 2 other people were hurt in that situation. But what he just said was pure stupidity. Like, oh, it's video games and it's social media and psychiatric drugs. Like, those drugs are meant to help people. Can you imagine somebody having a manic episode who has bipolar, and they're having a manic episode and they are not on their medication? Do you know how untamed some of these people would be under without these medications? Like, what are we saying here? What are you thinking? Why would you think saying that was a good idea? And I'm a younger millennial, so when you talk about video games, like, I grew up on Grand Theft Auto. I grew up on 007. I grew up on a lot of shooting games growing up. And not one time in my head did I think, like, oh, I should go to school and start pew-pewing everybody. Like, I never thought about that. That never crossed my mind. Any of my friends that I had during that time, that never crossed my mind for any of us to go and pew-pew up to school. Like, that just wasn't a thing. We played video games to have fun. And for him to get on TV and say what he said is just pure stupidity. And once again, this is the people that, y'all put in place to make these decisions for you. This is the same man who is against vaccines. Vaccines save lives. I don't know how many times we have to tell you that, but it does. But with all that being said, thank you for tuning in to this very short episode of the Same Cast, Different Day podcast. Please make sure that you guys hit that like and subscribe for me. I do have some merch for some discounts that you guys will be able to get coming up soon for comfort. So I will make sure I post the link for you guys to be able to get those discounted prices. But anywho, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Same Cast, Different Day podcast. Make sure you follow us on our social media pages so you can know what's going on with us and check out what's going on in our lives outside the podcast. And I hope to see you on the next episode. Hopefully, Tina Marie's renovations will be done and we'll be back doing live episodes. But until then, I'll see you next time.